New Nordic.
More than 100 people killed, 50 hurt in a tanker explosion in Nigeria.
The blast happened as dozens of people rushed to the scene of the tanker accident to scoop up fuel. It's common for people there to salvage gasoline after such incidents, especially with Nigeria's soaring fuel prices. Social media videos show a massive fire stretching right across the entire area, with what appears to be bodies scattered at the location.
ABC's Tom Rivers in London. The Federal Trade Commission has adopted a new rule making it easier for consumers to cancel subscriptions or memberships they no longer want. A click-to-cancel rule also requires businesses to get consent for an auto renewal. A judge in Georgia has overruled the Republican-led board that oversees elections, blocking a rule that could slow the reporting of election returns.
It's the second major election-related ruling this week from Georgia State Judge Robert McBurney. Monday, he ruled that counties have no choice but to certify the results. And now he says the state election board cannot require poll workers to hand count the number of ballots to ensure that tally matches a machine tabulation. Judge McBurney says that rule was adopted too close to the election without leaving enough time to train poll workers.
ABC's Stephen Portnoy in Washington. A state court has ruled that a killer's escape from a Pennsylvania jail last year has cost him his right to appeal his original life sentence. Chuck Sievertson, ABC News.
You can live out your MasterChef dreams when you find a professional on Angie to tackle your dream kitchen remodel. Connect with skilled professionals to get all your home projects done well. Inside to outside, repairs to renovations. Get started on the Angie app or visit Angie.com today. You can do this when you Angie that.
News Talk 610 AM and 102.1 FM. KBNU.
I'm Bill Walter, KBNU News. News is brought to you by Logan Extermination. A listener emailed in last week saying that she lives in Nibley and loves many things about living there, like the family fitness events the city does, the many parties and festivals in the park. But she says it's just a very friendly and inviting place to live overall. However, she said as she drives to and from work every day, she notes all of the apartments, townhomes, single-family homes, where open space and pastures used to be. On KBNU's For the People program last week, Nibley Mayor Larry Jacobson said growth is not easy to deal with, and Nibley, of course, is not the only place that is dealing with this.
Utah is the beehive state. We're industrious. We create jobs. We have a big focus on economic development, and certainly Cache Valley has lots of great things to offer to people, and that makes it difficult for us to keep up with the people that want to live here.
Of course, other projects are going on, many road improvements, 3200 South with the traffic light there, and also the new 1200 West bypass that is under construction that will go from Nibley City to 10th West all the way to the Logan Cache Airport. Now, Jacobson was asked if it was in his power to make any project the next project on the list for the city. What would that be?
I've actually been educated by the residents of Nibley City, and I didn't come to this conclusion on my own, but in talking to people over and over and over, we hear an outcry for recreation space, especially indoor recreation space.
Jacobson said Nibley residents are very recreation involved, as they are a young community with a lot of kids doing both competitive and recreational sports, and it is a long winter. So he said they're going to spend about $140,000 of general fund money to do a feasibility study to understand that demand and how they would satisfy that demand. Law enforcement is investigating a vehicle collision which occurred Tuesday afternoon in southern Idaho near Woodruff. The crash was reported at 4:30 p.m. on I-15 just north of the Utah-Idaho border. Idaho State Police report a 2004 GMC Sierra was traveling southbound on I-15 near milepost 3. The driver drove off the right shoulder and overcorrected where the vehicle rolled across the lanes. It came to rest in the median on its top. The driver, a 29-year-old man from North Logan, was not wearing his seatbelt and was transported by air ambulance to the hospital. His passenger, a 34-year-old man from Pocatello, was not wearing his seatbelt and succumbed to his injuries at the scene. Neither of the men were identified by law enforcement pending notification of family. The Idaho State Police are continuing to investigate the cause of the crash. And the family of a man who fell from an overpass after a taser was used on him hosted a vigil in his honor. 46-year-old Anthony James Valdez was running through traffic on I-15 Sunday night near 600 North when Utah Highway Patrol troopers used a taser to try and stop him. Instead, he fell 30 feet from the overpass and died. The vigil was held near where he died. Valdez's mom, Wilma Burke, said he had 3 kids and 1 grandchild. Burke says police have told her that it's too early in the investigation to say anything, but that they would give her videos after the investigation was done. So all she knows is that Valdez may have been in distress. KBNU weather brought to you by Big O Tires. Fall into savings. Save $80 to $120 off select tire sets from Hankook, Nexen, Toyo, and Nitto at Big O Tires. We do have rain in the forecast for tonight, especially late tonight, low in the low 40s. Rain before 3 p.m., then showers and possibly a thunderstorm after 3 tomorrow. High temperature in the mid-50s, so quite a bit cooler. You can always get more news at CacheValleyDaily.com.
Even though the weather's grown colder, you still have time to have your fruit trees pruned. Logan Extermination says your trees need to be trimmed back in order to achieve success next year. And this is the first step to a bountiful harvest. However, you could do more bad than good if you don't know what you're doing. Save the headache and call Logan Extermination today and get a jump on tree pruning. Prices will vary depending on your needs. Logan Extermination, 752-8450.
Breaking news, stimulating talk is what we do. KVNU 610 AM and 102.1 FM.
Thanks to our amazing customers and team, Skaven Roofing is the gold winner for roofing in the 2024 Best of Northern Utah. We appreciate your support.
I'm Nancy Huntley, and I'm running for Utah Senate District 2 in Cache and Rich counties. I grew up in rural America. I know that strong communities where people can thrive depend on healthy lands and healthy relationships among people. I'll work for a resilient economy, affordable housing, low pollution transportation, excellent education, opportunity for all, and support our cultural and spiritual values. I ask you to vote for Nancy Huntley on your November ballot. Paid for by Nancy for Utah.
This is Dr. Red, chiropractic physician with Red River Health and Wellness. Are you suffering with fatigue, brain fog, headaches, intestinal issues, weight gain, and you haven't been able to find any answers?
Before I started at Red River, I was having a lot of stomach pain. I was overweight, severe anxiety, some depression. I had been to multiple doctors. I'd been to specialists. We had done tests, and no one could find anything that was wrong.
Red River Health and Wellness can help you.
I'm on anxiety medicine. I've lowered my dose, and I'm working with my doctor to continue to lower it. I'm sleeping through the night. I have energy for my kids. I've lost 30 pounds. I just feel really good.
Our goal is to teach you and educate you so you know how to manage your condition a lot more effectively, and you know what to do and what not to do for the rest of your life.
Schedule your appointment today at 855-55-RIVER. Red River Health and Wellness with offices in Logan, South Jordan, Springville, and St. George.
Call Red River today.
The annual Cache Businesswomen's Conference is Wednesday, October 23rd at the Riverwoods Conference Center. This year's theme is Ignite Your Potential, Unlock the Leader Within. Keynote speakers are Julie Weber, Director of Leadership Development at Conservice, Elisa Garn, Solution Architect and Subject Matter Expert at SHRM, and Esther Lee Molyneux, Board President of Pause Wellness. The Cache Businesswomen's Conference is Wednesday, October 23rd at the Riverwoods. Register now at cachechamber.com. That's cachechamber.com.
Wow. Dave, what's the matter? You don't look so good. You look like you're under a lot of stress.
You're right, Bob. And looks aren't deceiving. I thought turning 65 would be easy. Boy, was I wrong. Every day I go to the mailbox, I'm inundated with mail, bombarded with phone calls from telemarketers, and when I turn on the TV, all I see is Medicare commercials. It's like a bad dream I can't wake up from.
I know how you feel, Dave. I felt the same way.
So what'd you do?
I went to Jessup Insurance. I can't believe the peace of mind they've given me. They've helped me to understand Medicare and explained all of my insurance options. Dave, hey, Dave, where are you going?
I'm heading to Jessup Insurance to get rid of this bad dream.
Say goodbye to all the Medicare confusion. Call Jessup Insurance, 435-213-3200, or Google Jessup Insurance.
Jessup Insurance and Retirement Services. Let us guide you.
KVNU's For the People with Jason Williams and Bill Walter.
And it is Utah known as the fraud capital of the world. Not because we have more people committing fraud, but because we have so many people falling for it.
Going beneath the headlines and connecting you to the newsmakers.
The radio is a great way to get the word out to a lot of people in an emergency. So we thank you for your help and being a partner with us.
For the People on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM, 102.1 FM, online at 610kvnu.com, and on the KVNU mobile app.
Welcome to KVNU's For the People. It is a beautiful Wednesday afternoon here in Cache Valley, and we are about to be joined, if I do this right, well, we're live, by Barbara Tidwell, a candidate for county council. She is, of course, the incumbent in this race as well, and Barbara Tidwell joining us to talk about her campaign for re-election. Again, our attempts to speak to every candidate are going to go through this week and next. We're hoping to give every candidate a chance for a spotlight and also a chance to remind voters that an election is afoot. So, those ballots are going out. If you haven't received yours yet, and it should be there by the end of the week. If it's not, you might want to reach out to the county clerk and see what the deal is. But again, joining us now for a candidate spotlight, we have, starting the show today, Barbara Tidwell. And Barbara, I apologize for this, Barbara. I wrote it down, and I can't find the note, but you've been on the county council now for how long?
For 8 years.
8 years.
And at the end of my second term.
And in that 8 years, wow. What an 8 years to be on the county council. I've grown up here, Barbara. I don't remember a time like the last few years when we had so much going on, so many challenges to meet, so much growth, so many changes happening all around us. What's it been like?
Well, I'll tell you, the first 4 years, was a great learning experience, getting my feet wet, trying to learn the ins and outs of the county and the departments and everything involved. The next 4 years were really, really quite difficult, what with COVID and everything else going on and the challenges that we were facing as a community and, as a nation, but the community was a hard thing for that. And then we got evened out from that. And then we've had other challenges come up too, such as water district things, protecting our water, balancing budgets. It's just a real constant thing all the time, but it's an exciting thing.
Sure. It is, with running for re-election, you get a chance to talk to a lot of people in Cache Valley and, hear what's on their minds. What are you hearing from voters in Cache Valley? I know, if it's just me here on the radio talking, I always say growth. That's the thing that's on my mind the most. But what are you hearing from normal people who aren't on the radio every day? What's on the top of their minds?
Well, you're exactly right. Growth, affordable housing is a really big topic. And then we've got other issues such as keeping that agricultural feel for the valley while dealing with the growth and trying to provide homes for the people that are here already, plus, considering people moving into the valley. Water, of course, is an issue also. So those probably things. And coming up to is the homelessness.
Sure.
And some of that issue going on. So yeah, that's probably what I can think of right now are some of the top issues that people are discussing, asking about.
And it's no small thing to not only serve in public office as you have, but to file, to run, to re-election, put yourself out there in that spotlight, and the scrutiny of voters and all of that. So I applaud anyone who runs, because if we don't have people run, we don't have choices in elections. And if you were to list one or two things that prompted you to run for re-election, what's top of your mind?
I appreciate what you've said about putting yourself out there, and as it's pretty well known, I'm the only one that has an opponent, and I have to give my opponent such kudos for putting her name out there, because you're exactly right. It's not easy to put your name out there and be under scrutiny, but probably for me, the reason I ran for re-election was that I feel a deep sense of community. I feel that I need to be giving something back to my community, and that in order to do that, then I need to get more involved in the process. That was probably one of the biggest reasons to run for re-election again. The other reason is that I have a deep respect for all that are here trying to do the best that they can for the valley, and anything that I can do to help them, but also to help the people in this great valley. We have wonderful people. We have people that are so willing to support and to get involved, and we just need to do what we can to help them out too.
Sure. And, it's a challenge to deal with everything that's coming our way, and a lot of it not in our control. You mentioned water, and Barbara, I've been watching the legislature lately, and I can see what they're thinking. They're looking at northern Utah. They're looking at Cache County.
Exactly.
But we do have, the county's made the council has made some forward-thinking decisions recently, and from ways to preserve open space as we see all of this growth, but also the planning ahead with that water board, putting that together before they were actually salivating over our water. So you've served for a while now. What options do we have? Well, actually, let me put it this way. Sometimes I look at everything, the projected growth, the water, the fact that though we're in the wettest part of the state, still live in a desert state. Can we do all of this?
Yes. You mentioned, that other areas of the state have been interested in our water, and they've been interested in our water for a very long time. And I was helped serve on that committee to get that on the ballot so that people could vote whether they wanted a water conservancy district or not.
Sure.
The main reason I did that was I think it's very important that we look forward and keep this land and our water and everything that's in it for future generations. It's not just us living here now. We've got to think ahead. We've got to look forward to what's going to happen with this. And it's very important that we keep those avenues open for people who are who will be coming after us.
Sure.
Water is a big deal. We have water here, but yes, other parts of the state need the water too. But if we can protect what we have here, then we are in a better position to help the other parts also.
I appreciate how you said that. That's a nice perspective that takes some of the competition out of it a little bit, because I worry, when I hear lawmakers from Utah County or even Salt Lake County, Davis County talking, sometimes I think, hey, wait a minute, we need some of that too. This is, you mentioned homelessness, and Barbara, one thing that I really appreciate about your time in office, you've been very blunt on this issue. You've said, that we need to kind of wake up to the fact that we do have a homelessness problem here in Cache Valley, especially with our veteran community. And you've said that if reelected, that's something you plan to continue to focus on?
Yes, most definitely. Homelessness is a real personal issue with me. I had a brother who lived in Salt Lake. Now, he chose to be homeless, but we have the same issue up here. We have some people who choose to be that way, but there are others who do not choose, and they're trying to provide for their families, for their children. And I really do think that we need to concentrate on things that we can do to help them. I serve on the Human Services Board of the Bear River Association of Governments, and there are so many areas there that can help people, but I don't know if people are aware of what's there. There's a need for education to get that out to the public and make people aware that, just because someone's homeless doesn't mean they don't deserve some help. Sure. And I feel that same way about our veterans. Our veterans deserve our attention, our respect, and anybody that's been either, veteran has been served in the military, or those who are on the police force, or anyone that's in a security position, to me, deserves our respect. And we need to make sure that we take care of those people.
I appreciate that, and it's nice to have someone out there reminding everyone, because we do, I think of that as, that's an Ogden problem, that's a Salt Lake problem, yeah. But we've seen that this is a Cache Valley problem in different ways. And Barbara Tidwell, our guest, she is a Cache County Council member running for re-election. You'll see her name on your ballot. And speaking of your ballot, they've been mailed. The county clerk's office told me they are about done with the mailing. So depending on where you live in the valley, you may have it already. I got mine yesterday, actually. And you can start sending them back now as well. Although early voting, drop box unlocking and things like that are still a few days off, you can actually drop your ballot in the mail today after filling it out. And Barbara, last question for you here. If someone has a question, they want to know more about where you are on this issue or that issue, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you and your campaign?
Thank you. You can contact me at 435-757-3524, or you can go in on our county site and contact me at Barbara, it's BARBARA Tidwell, TID as in David, WELL, at cachecounty.gov.
Barbara, thank you for your time today. For me, it's been a pleasure, for our listeners as well. And again, for filing to run. Without candidates, we can't have elections. So I appreciate that you have names on your ballot. And Barbara, a pleasure to have you join us today. If you're successful at re-election, maybe we can do something a bit longer in the future, have you into the studio, and we could probably spend the full hour just talking about water or homelessness, one of these issues. But a pleasure to have you join us today.
Thank you so much, Jason. I appreciate the opportunity.
Oh, our pleasure. Thank you for taking the time for our listeners, and we'll speak again soon.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Get out and vote.
That's right. That is right. I'd love to see higher turnout in this one, so please, as Barbara said, get out and vote. The ballots are going out, and almost all the way out, according to the clerk's office, and you can send them back as soon as you get them. Well, fill them out first and sign them, of course, but... thanks again, Barbara Tidwell, our guest, Cache County Council member and candidate for re-election. You'll see her name on your ballot, and I've linked to the sample ballot if you'd like to see that on our Facebook page. You can also visit cashcounty.org/elections. And stay tuned. On the other side, another special guest joining us here. We have Logan City Mayor Holly Daines for our Speak to the Mayor segment right after this.
Wolf, Sub-Zero, Thermador, and more. Your favorite luxury brands are right here in Cache Valley. This is Jay with Daryl's Appliance. We sell, service, install, and offer warranties on all our products. You will get the best pricing at Daryl's, including exclusive builder pricing for new builds and remodels. Don't forget instant rebates that save you thousands. Call, text, or drive out for a free consultation with one of our appliance experts. Top-of-the-line appliances deserve top-of-the-line service only at Daryl's Appliance West on Airport Road.
Today's hearing aid technology can improve not only your life, but the lives of the people who care about you. Once again, you'll be able to hear the reason for their laughter and understand conversations. Dr. Paul Daines will customize a hearing improvement program to meet your unique requirements, whatever they are. Call Dr. Daines for an appointment at 753-HERE and let him show you how.
Bring back what you've been missing. Bring back Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology.
Hi, it's Olivia Munn with my shelter pets, Frankie and Chance, reminding you that when you adopt a shelter pet, you discover all the things that make them unique. Adopt Pure Love at theshelterpetproject.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the Humane Society of the United States, and Maddie's Fund.
Welcome back to KVN News for the People. Thanks again to Barbara Tidwell, Cache County Council member and candidate for re-election. Her name will appear on your ballot, which you should be getting this week, and the election coming up sooner than you think. So don't forget. I've done that. I have let my ballot sit thinking, oh, I've got plenty of time, I'll get to it, and then scrambling day of, or even one time years ago, actually forgot, and I really wanted to vote in that primary. I spaced it. So don't do that. When you get your ballot, fill it out, sign it, and send it back in, or if you prefer, wait until the drop boxes are unlocked next week. And, vote. Transitioning now to our Speak to the Mayor segment, our monthly opportunity to speak with Logan City Mayor Holly Daines. And it has been, Mayor, I mentioned this when speaking with Barbara, that I can't imagine a time when being on the county council there was more going on than the last couple of years. But same for Logan City. We do have one pressing issue to get to here, because I wanted to tell you this when you came in today. I counted them up, 17 emails from listeners wanting to know one thing: when does the ice rink open? That is so cool, though, that there's that much public interest in that one event. But it's a little warm still, right?
It is. So we will open the ice rink on the Saturday after Thanksgiving, and Thanksgiving is kind of a little late this year.
Yeah.
So we will open it on Saturday, November 30th, and we are planning a big parade. Actually, Anderson Seed and Garden is going to take over the Christmas parade, and then we'll have, they'll do Santa and a Twinkle Lights parade, and then we'll have the skating rink open. And for those that were downtown on the opening of the skating rink and the Christmas parade last year, they will remember the highlight. We had fireworks, and they're working to see if we can do that same thing again. Again, it was such a cold year last year.
Yeah.
So if it's cold, really dress warmly so you don't leave early and, because you're cold and miss the fun. But that is, the planning is underway. So
that is very cool.
That will be exciting.
I was excited just to see that. 17 doesn't sound like a high number, but to have 17 different people over the last month email on the same thing, it was just funny to see. And that downtown plaza, the pumpkin walk recently, I think, was, just the best example of what that plaza does for downtown. I don't know if anyone got a head count or an estimate, but there were people everywhere all day long on that plaza.
With multiple fun concerts going on and the pie eating contest.
Gigantic
and
pumpkins everywhere.
Right. It was a really fun day.
It's a really cool thing to see, and it makes Logan's downtown, really stand out. It's no offense to any other city meant, but there are larger cities with bigger budgets, like Ogden, that I think don't compare. 25th Street is nice for restaurants and things like that, but there's not really anything in downtown Ogden like downtown Logan. That is very cool.
And I think they do have a Twilight concert series, if I recall. But again, if you didn't come down to the plaza for one of our concerts this summer, you really should make the effort to come next year. We had 20 free concerts. Again, we have some chairs there, but we encourage people to bring your chair, later when the concert starts, 6 or 7, there's some shade. It's really pleasant just to kind of sit around and enjoy, again, free concerts. So, and then we've had a few kind of movies, more kids' movies, where we've kept the splash pad open late with the lights on the splash pad. And so you can kind of do that and then watch the movie with free popcorn. And so a lot of really fun opportunities to come downtown and wander around and enjoy things.
It is. Take advantage of it. And this goes, as we talk about Logan City, this goes for everyone listening. You don't have to live in I don't tell Mayor Daines, but I go to downtown Logan all the time to take advantage of this. And the festivals and fun and things like that have really just, I don't know, it's like living in a big city, but we're still Cache Valley. Appreciate that. If you have a comment or a question for Mayor Daines, 753-5868, or you can text them if you prefer using the Google Chat app. We're KVNU FTP on Google Chat. And we'll be back with more of Speak to the Mayor with Logan City Mayor Holly Daines right after the news with KVNU's Bill Walter.
Thank you, Jason. KVNU News brought to you by Canyon Landscaping. Idaho will begin using central veins deep in the groin, neck, chest, or arm for executions by lethal injection if attempts to insert standard IV lines fail. The Idaho Department of Correction announced the change on Tuesday. Threading a catheter through an inmate's deep veins until it nears the heart has long been a backup plan under the state's official execution policy. It has never been used because prison officials said the execution chamber was not designed for the procedure. The attempted execution in February of death row inmate Thomas Eugene Creech failed after the execution team was unable to establish an IV line close to the surface of the skin 8 times. The University of Nevada has made it clear that its October 26th volleyball match against San Jose State will go on as scheduled after the team's players released an independent statement saying they would refuse to participate in any match that advances injustice, that is, against female athletes. San Jose State has a transgender female member on its team. 4 teams had previously canceled games against San Jose State. They were Boise State, Southern Utah, Utah State, and Wyoming. None of the schools explicitly said why they were forfeiting. The Republican governors of Utah, Idaho, and Wyoming have made public statements in support of the cancellation, citing a need for fairness in women's sports. KVNU weather brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. As days get shorter, temperatures get colder. Be prepared with a stop at your locally owned Napa Auto Parts. Ice, snow, cold are hard on your wiper blades. Pick up some long-lasting silicone wiper blades at Napa Auto Parts. Our forecast for tonight, looking at rain in the forecast late tonight, low in the low 40s. Rain before 3 p.m. Thursday, then showers, maybe a thunderstorm in the afternoon on Thursday, high near 55. Showers and maybe a thunderstorm Thursday night. And then a chance of rain and snow before noon on Friday, then a slight chance of rain, mostly cloudy, high temperature near 50 on Friday. Get more news at CacheValleyDaily.com.
ABC News, I'm Chuck Sievertson. Near Philadelphia, in the biggest battleground state, Pennsylvania, Vice President Kamala Harris in Bucks County.
I am joined today by over 100 Republican leaders
from across Pennsylvania and across our country who are supporting my candidacy for President of the United States.
Former President Trump in a town hall event on Fox News Channel with a woman-only audience saying it was the right call to overturn Roe v. Wade.
It's back in the states where they can have the vote of the people. It's exactly where they want to be.
State police in Argentina confirmed that former One Direction UK boy band star Liam Payne has died after a fall from the third floor of his hotel. He was 31. A small group of North Korean soldiers fighting with Russian forces on the front lines of the Russian-Ukraine war have deserted, says a Ukrainian source. Chuck Sievertson, ABC News.
Fall is the perfect time to landscape, and Canyon Landscaping is ready to build or transform your outdoor space. They bring your vision to life with expert care, including installing beautiful planting beds and crafting custom paver patios. They handle your entire project from start to finish, and they have the team to get the design just right. But hurry, spots are filling up fast. Visit canyonlandscaping.com or call 752-3838 today. Let's make your outdoor space a true extension of your home. Call Canyon Landscaping. Look for the leaf.
From ABC News, Wall Street now. Better than expected profit reports helped markets make up losses from Tuesday, with blue chip stocks leading a rebound. The Dow added 337, the S&P gained 27, and the Nasdaq inched up 51. Morgan Stanley added almost 7% after reporting a stronger profit last quarter than anticipated. United Airlines climbed 13% higher even after reporting a mild drop in summer profits. It's because the airline announced plans to send up to $1.5 billion to shareholders by buying back its stock. General Motors and mine company Lithium Americas Corp plan to develop a site known as Thacker Pass in Nevada. GM will be investing $625 million to support construction at the site. Lithium is a key component in electric vehicle batteries. Amazon and Google are investing in the next generation of nuclear reactors. The companies are seeking new sources of carbon-free electricity to meet increasing demand from data centers and artificial intelligence. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
If you're near retirement or thinking about retiring, you probably have questions. How do you make your savings last? How much should you take out and when? You're ready for retirement, but are your finances? Your Edward Jones financial advisor can help you build a strategy to help your finances keep up with your long-term needs. You've done what it takes to get there. Now it's time to make the most of retirement. Call one of our 11 branch locations in Cache Valley or go to edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Welcome back to KVN News for the People. Logan City Mayor Holly Daines, our guest here in the studio. It's our Speak to the Mayor segment this month. And if you have a comment or a question, again, 753-5868, or you can message in using Google Chat. We're KVNU FTP on Google Chat. And Mayor Daines, you have a few things you wanted to get to today that listeners will find interesting. And I'm not sure where you wanted to start, but all of them sound fun to me to talk about. So,
well, first of all, I will give a brief construction update. I'm sure we are wrapping up some of our bigger projects that have been kind of major detours for people this summer, and I know it's kind of a pain during the process, but once they get finished, people are usually really pleased with the results. So on 10th North, again, listeners, 200 West has been open going north and south for quite a while, but you have not been able to go from 200 West to Main Street, but that is now open. It's beautiful. It's wider. It's taken care of. There's a signal at the intersection. So much improved there. And now they are wrapping up the other segment, which is from Main Street going east to PetSmart. They're scheduled to pave that section on the 24th, and then with some striping and collars around some of the manholes and so on, they should be open by the first week of November on that segment. So
that's impressive.
Again, a big project that's taken a lot of effort.
I would have predicted delays in that project because that was a big one.
It was
That's
a big
impressive.
one. Again, we did some interesting things to try and get the contractors to open lanes sooner. So We gave them, they had to pay extra if they kept the lanes closed longer, and they had incentives to open them sooner. So, again, that's why we ended up opening this section from 200 West to Main sooner because, every little bit helps. So that was a good thing.
That's interesting.
On the 1200 East roundabout, currently, if you're coming to that new roundabout, oval about, whatever you'd like to call it, 3 sides of that are open. Now, you still can't go from Aggie Ice Cream to 10th North. They're still working on that segment and finishing up that south roundabout right as you come out from the Spectrum and Edith Owen School there by the tennis courts. But that one, again, there should be open in about 2 weeks. So we're getting really close on that one. And I know that has been a bit of a hassle when people have been going to games and that sort of thing this fall. But again, really good project, and traffic should flow much better. There's some bike lanes. It'll be a really good thing. And then one that people may not be aware of quite as much unless you live down in that area. It's not a major connection like the other two, but on 200 South between 1400 West to 1900 West, that is just on the south side of the landfill.
Okay.
We have been putting in big stretch of new road there. It was kind of like a 1-lane winding cow path, and it was not very safe. And again, as we developed that area into the new Logan Outdoor Recreation Complex with a neighborhood park, a disc golf, and a big dog park as far as the major portion on the south side of 200 South, it's a huge project. It's 200 acres overall. It's probably a 10-year project to really get everything done. On the north side, which we still have to close some more portions of the compost facility and so on. But really exciting to see that facility. Again, the first step was the road. Then parking lots are kind of being paved. The trail that will connect everything through, that's paved. So, again, not open to the public yet, but that one is coming.
That is also a big project. But these are both projects that I've had the misfortune to experience under construction, but also seeing what the plan is. The east to west improvements are going to be nice. Let's put it that way.
Right. And again, that's part of the overall effort to improve traffic on Main Street. Again, if people have an option to use 10th West, and then they can get more easily, to the east to get to eastern portions of town, whether it's campus or whatever. So that, again, that's been the focus of 10th, and we're applying for, last time I was in, we talked about the Council of Governments and the funding they get and how the mayors decide and rank those projects and allocate funding. So on Monday, we have our meeting to rank the projects. There's about $7 million in funding this year, and Logan, there are great projects from all across the valley, and every single project, no matter the community, is good. We have opted our project just to try and increase that north-south connectivity, and due to that railroad intersection at 6th West and 10th North, the same thing we did at 14th, which really improved that, which just put the railroad safety gates, the lights that are timed to the railroad, and really make traffic flow more smoothly there. So if we get that grant, we should start on that next spring. If not, it will probably be another year. You just kind of sometimes have to put projects off depending on funding. But
sure, that is, it's been amazing to see the light at 10th North and is it 2nd West or 1st West?
Well,
I have to
2nd West.
2nd West.
2nd West, right? Is where we just.
That is it's amazing to see what a light can change, in traffic flow.
Right, and with the four-way stop, in turn lanes, people would come. They didn't know quite whose turn it was. It was very, very stop and go. But now, again, with the light, one whole segment can move through, and then the light changes, and the next thing. It flows better. You're exactly right.
That is so. When you look ahead into next year, and some of the planning that is happening now for next year, Logan City's set up pretty well to just kind of continue on this path. As you said, as money becomes available, either directly through the budget or through granting processes from the state, even federal government. And then, of course, you have to work with other agencies, UDOT and the county and things like that.
Right.
But is this kind of the next year or two for Logan City, focusing on that east to west corridor or east to west corridors?
We are doing a lot of that. And then just in terms of infrastructure under those roads, I mean, we have plans to start to line some of our sewer lines on 4th North, kind of on the east section. We did part of the west section right here in front of your studio, from 10th North from 10th West to 6th West, just recently. So we have a very full schedule. And again, we just try and incrementally get some of those infrastructure projects done, whether they're transportation related or water and sewer related. It all ties together.
That is, and as you can see, it's a complex process, making all these pieces fit. We're speaking with Logan City Mayor Holly Daines. She is here in the studio for our Speak to the Mayor segment. If you have a comment or a question, 753-5868. We'll be back with more right after this.
Talk 610 AM, 102.1 FM, KVNU.
Whether you're a farmer working the fields, a homeowner tackling weekend projects, or a contractor building the next big thing, you need a Kubota machine that works as hard as you do. And Cash Equipment is home to all your Kubota equipment, service, and parts needs. From plowing fields and clearing land to digging trenches and moving material. Come see why Cash Equipment and Kubota are the choice of champions on the farm, at home, and on the job site. Cash Equipment in Hyde Park and online at cashequipment.com.
I'm Nancy Huntley, and I'm running for Utah Senate District 2 in Cache and Rich counties. I know I don't have all the answers. I'll listen to your concerns and learn from you, the people, about what's important in our community. Combined with honest information, I'll work with you to represent the interests of Northern Utah. I won't let special interests buy my vote during this election or when I'm in the legislature. I ask you to vote for Nancy Huntley on your November ballot. Paid for by Nancy for Utah.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. Logan City Mayor Holly Daines, our guest here in the studio. We have covered a construction update. We talked a little bit about winter plans for downtown when we transition from the summer and fall events in downtown to winter. Keep an eye on the city's website for announcements and things like that, of course. And what's next? We have, like I say, there are so many events, I don't know where to start.
There are some fun things coming downtown. The Parks and Rec Department sponsors the Center Street Witches Dance and Halloween Festival. And it has been on Halloween, but this year they're trying something a little different. They're going to do the Saturday before Halloween. Again, weekends seem to be kind of a better time for people to come to bigger events. So There will be activities there from 5 to 9. There will be food trucks, games to play, crafts, some live music, pumpkin decorating, a free movie in the Utah Theater, Casper, which is a fun one. And then on the actual Halloween day, one thing that's become kind of a fun tradition with our police is they sponsor a trunk or treat in the police parking lot. And that goes from 3 to 5 in the afternoon. So it's during the day, bring the littles. And the police officers decorate their cars, their trunks. And they've also started to pull other city departments in. So, for instance, there'll be a brand new backhoe from Public Works. I don't know if you'll get to take your candy out of the bucket or how that will work.
I'm coming just for that.
I know. And the library will have a booth. So, again, the police coordinates that, but they have other departments join in. So that is Thursday, October 31st. From 3 to 5 p.m. in the police department east parking lot. Okay. So there between the library and the police building, just off 300 North, you can park in the City Hall library parking and walk through the gate there or enter from 300 North. But should be kind of fun and
that's very
just
cool.
a way to celebrate a little bit early. So
that's nice for when the holidays fall like they do this year. To have that option. Like you said, weekends oftentimes easier for parents. And so hats off to the Logan City Police and others for putting that together again. And you mentioned they decorate their cars. If you've never been to this, it is so funny. To see they go above and beyond on the decorations.
Right.
But.
That is exactly right. Maybe just one other quick thing I'll mention before we wrap up is Logan has just been redesignated as a Healthy Utah Community. And I know they have a grant program statewide, and they're encouraging communities to get together and create a plan on how you can make your community a more healthy place. And you have other partners. So we've partnered with, the health department and others. And, some of the things that our parks department do, we provide parks and open space, which is obviously good for mental health, which is one of the things that they're promoting, and all sorts of recreation activities. We should probably talk about that in depth in one of our other interviews. There are so many amazing programs they do that people can take advantage of that are either free or very low cost. Indoor, outdoor programs. Obviously, during the winter, we'll move to indoor, but so much happening over the summer. And again, that designation, when we were first designated that, a grant came with that. And so part of what we did is we installed some outdoor exercise equipment at Trapper Park. And Trapper is kind of one of our hidden gems. I know a lot of people that
forget about it.
Or they haven't been there. It's a little tricky to get to if you're driving. Again, it's kind of on this dirt county road through 2 cow pastures. You think, am I in the right place? There is a little sign out on.
Did I miss it?
I know. And you can also access it on foot or bicycle from Rendezvous Park. If you take the Trapper Trail, it's just a little over 2 miles.
Which is a fun ride.
Quiet trail.
I've done that. It's a fun ride.
Again, beautiful view of the Wellsvilles off to the west. But again, we've put in this, it's a pavilion, so it's covered, the exercise equipment, but it's open, outdoors. But again, if you want to take a trail run and then get in some actual, weight resistance training with this exercise equipment, that's great. We finally put in a new restroom at Trapper Park. For a long time, it just had porta potties. Now we have a real honest-to-goodness restroom. The other thing they did, first of all, they just had a pile of dirt from some of the landscaping they were doing. And the kids were kind of having so much fun going over the bumps and the up and down. They turned it into a little pump track. They've paved it and planted grass kind of on the bump, And when I was out there a few weeks ago, there were, probably a dozen little kids out there just riding their little training wheel bikes or their little their little pedal bikes, their balance bikes on it, and having a grand time. I mean, it's obviously for littler kids, but
that's very
really
cool,
fun.
Though.
Yeah, and there's some fun play equipment out there that they don't have anywhere else. It's kind of a nature bear themed, climbing play toy. So if you haven't ever been out to Trapper Park, you might want to figure out where it is, although our weather is supposed to be changing, so it may not be quite as enticing as it has been.
Maybe don't head out in the next couple of days. Wait until next week. But it's you touched on that a little bit, but I'm in a privileged situation where I get to talk to you once a month. I get to other people in the city we get information from in our news team. But I'm surprised oftentimes when I speak with Logan residents and they'll say, I wish we had that, or I'm looking for this, and I can tell them, well, Logan City actually has that. There's very little that Logan City hasn't covered as far as recreational opportunities. This is an unfair question with only 4 minutes left in the hour here, so maybe we can put a pin in this until next time. But a listener popping up here in the chat saying, where are we at on a new rec center? That's maybe a longer conversation for another day, right?
Right. The county council did just approve, again, they provided some funding for a study, and the RFPs, the bids came back on the study, and the county council, they broke it into 2 phases because there was only certain amount of approved funding by the county council. Remember, the RAPS committee recommended approving the full amount. The county council reduced that amount, and they voted to move ahead with phase 1, but again, phase 2 of the study, the feasibility study, is not yet funding. So we hope that maybe in the future, after they get phase 1 done, they'll decide, well, we really do need this additional information. But again, a lot of communities are interested in that. And And again, a lot of communities have great recreation facilities too, funded through the RAPS program, which is a really terrific way for all communities to find funding and
it shouldn't
participate.
It shouldn't all fall on Logan City, right? I mean,
right.
It
And the
has
money
to...
should be spread around. So, but one thing I'll just maybe closing bit of trivia for your listeners. So,
I like that.
Our Parks and Rec department has 27 full-time year-round staff, but during the summer we employ 244 part-time employees to keep all our programs going.
Wow.
That includes, of course, everything from the cemetery to the Parks and Rec, to the golf course, to the aquatic center, which has a huge number of lifeguards, bless their heart. And I'm just sending out my mayor's newsletter, which kind of focuses on this. So if you don't get my mayor's newsletter and you're interested, look up my email on the city website and say, put me on your list, send me your email and I'll do it. But again, Parks mows and trims 150 acres of turf weekly, cleans 19 park restrooms daily, even on weekends, prepares over 1,300 pavilion rentals. Pulls numerous garbage cans in and out, takes care of 41.8 miles of trails. I'll stop there.
That is amazing.
And the recreation programs, just 150 acres of turf weekly. That's just parks. So the cemetery has another 52 acres to mow every week.
It's amazing to see it in that perspective, because a lot of times the work of, I've talked with Mr. Aquino about this before, the work of Parks and Rec oftentimes it's behind the scenes. It's something you maybe notice in the background, but you just know when you show up for the park, the grass is nice, the fences are nice, that is.
I know we are really fortunate, and I know there was a recent article in the Salt Lake Tribune about how Salt Lake is having a real challenge keeping their parks, clean and graffiti free and nice. And our staff does a great job.
That is very nice. Well, thank you, Mayor Daines, for your time. It's always a pleasure to have you join us. And for listeners, Mayor Daines will be back with us next month for another episode of Speak to the Mayor. If you have a comment or a question in between now and then, we'll put a pin in it. You can email us at kvnuftp@gmail.com. Stick around. Hour 2 of today's show coming up right after this here on KVNU Logan.
News and talk. KVNU Logan. 610 AM and 102.1 FM.